Velasco, and thank you for reading.
Manny Pacquiao, I suppose, I don't think there'll be a problem for Manny.
Has its share of great fights. But every once in a while, human mind can also be controlled and muscle.
Only here, para sa bayan. And that's the opening bell for Round by Round presented by Eastern Communications. Mabuhay Pilipinas, welcome world! I'm Boyet Sison.
And I am Dennis Principe. Ryan Songalia will join us later on in the show.
Mga kaibigan, sa aming programang ngayong gabi, medyo mahaba-haba ito. Medyo malagkit, malagkit ang aming mga diskusyon ngayon. Dahil ang una-una namin pag-uusapan ay paghirang sa kauna-unahang WBC Bridgeweight Champion na si Oscar Rivas, who defeated a very game Ryan Roziski by decision. Nga mga kaibigan, itong bagong weight class na sinalang mga kaibigan ng WBC ay sa ngayon, mga kaibigan, napaka-controversial. Dahil unang-una nga, ang WBC nga nalagay sa isang hindi magandang posisyon dahil ang dami daw nilang champion. Ngayon, nagdagdag na naman sila ng panibagong weight class. So, ano nga ba itong mga kaibigan? Ano nga ba itong Bridgeweight Division? Ano ba itong Bridgeweight Division? Okay, mga kaibigan, ito, simpleng paliwanag. Ang weight limit po nitong Bridgeweight Division ay 224 pounds. So, yung mga cruiserweight, ika nga, are required to weigh in on or under 200 pounds the day before a title fight or an eliminator. So, bakit nga po tinawag itong bridgeweight? Dahil ang kwento nga daw po ay itong si WBC President Mauricio Sulaiman ay nakakita ng nakarinig din sa kwento at na-inspire daw siya sa isang balita tungkol sa isang 6-year-old na si Bridger Walker. Si Walker, ang kanyang 4 na taong kapatid na babae, ay inatake ng isang aso sa Wyoming sa Amerika. Naprotektahan niya ang kanyang nakababatang kapatid, pero nakagat po siya nitong aso. Ngayon, itong mga may-ari ng aso na-rescue si Bridger and put pressure on the wounds until medical staff arrived on the scene. Naging viral po yung kwento at itong si Sulaiman, naantig po ang kanyang puso who named him an honorary WBC champion and presented him with a title belt. Ngayon, Mr. Expert Dennis Principe, ano opinion mo dito tungkol sa pagkakaroon ng bago na namang weight class, partner?
For one, maganda naman yung objective ni ginawang Sulaiman. Kaibigan natin yan, si Mauricio Sulaiman. Dahil yun nga, they are honoring a heroic act of a kid. But ang problema rito is that we know very well that the heavyweight division has lost its luster for quite some time already. Nawala na sila Tyson, sila Lennox Lewis, sina Evander Holyfield, ngayon ilan na lang talaga ang napapag-usapan, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, at saka si Anthony Joshua, Problema nito is that isa pala kasi yung heavyweight, which I believe yun ang dapat tinutukan muna ng WBC and the rest of the organizations, wala, malilito ng lalo, kasi tayo nga nalilito Sabi mo bridgeweight, bridgerweight ata no? Di ba? Bridger.
Parang tulay.
Oo nga, di ba? Well, it sounds tulay between the heavyweight and cruiserweight. But, yun nga, ang mangyayari nito, I think yun talagang classic heavyweight, the best heavyweights actually are between 200 to 224, 25. 230 siguro. So, aakit ka na ron. Usually, mga 230 pataas, mga flabby na yan ito yung mga tipo na, alam mo na, medyo
malaking
mga
tao, pero
malaking tao, di ba?
Malaking tao, pero hindi ganun kakat yung katawan.
Yun na nga, di ba? So, Yun lang ang concern ko rito. But right now, no, we can't really criticize, no, kasi nga andun sa issue na binigyan ng parangal yung bata. No? But being a purist, no, sa sport of boxing, I think it will only add to the miseries, of the heavyweight division.
I think it's not only the miseries, Dennis, no, but it's also a confusion because this will be a situation within, again, it'll only be the WBC that has this kind of a belt. Now, will the other boxing organizations adapt to this?
I doubt it.
And everybody will have the same classification. But as you've said, you just mentioned it now, you doubt it. And that will leave a very confusing element as far as the world of boxing is concerned, di ba? It will just create more anarchy, ika nga, in the understanding of how weight classes are. Kumbaga, ito na nga, nagkakalito-lituhan na nga dahil may mga super, regular, whatever, mga terminology na inadagdag dito sa mga champions of the different of the respective weight classes. And now, you create in another different classification of a certain weight class. And let me ask you this, but from the point of view, and very quickly, from the point of view of the audience, how do you think will they react to this?
Malilito lang, no, yung boxing fans, because sabi nga natin, ang problema nga ng heavyweight division, walang superstar. Tapos ilalayo mo pa dun sa, kung tutusin, yung mga potential ng mga heavyweights or yung future heavyweights are making quite some noise sa cruiserweight, light heavyweight. Sana inantay na lang umakyat. Imagine, yung heavyweight, yun na lang yung kanilang magiging parang pagkukunan ng mga future stars, lalagyan mo pa ng bridgerweight. But, I'll give this until middle of next year. Sa tingin ko, hindi tatagal. With all due respect sa kaibigan natin, si Mr. Slay. I don't think this will last for so long.
Okay, so final question before we close this particular topic. From a business point of view, do you think as many people, sa napakaraming tao na rin nagsabi, no? As many people have already voiced out their opinions, is this another case of what you call a franchise champion kung saan ang isang organisasyon gumagawa ng sarili nilang champion in cahoots, maybe with a cover, maybe with a broadcast entity that they would start creating more hype for this particular weight class. Ano tingin mo?
I would think na merong involved dito na television because alam naman natin na recently lang, no, or a few years ago, tama ba 'yon, na ang HBO, di ba? Bumitaw na sa boxing, We still have Showtime, we have ano pa ba, yung PBC, no? Fox Network, ilan na lang yan, and alam naman nila na talagang ngayon ang mga big money fights are happening middleweight pababa, no? So for them to add another division in a heavier division between cruiserweight and heavyweight, no, I don't think there's much money to make, in that new division.
Mga kaibigan, sa aming ikalawang paksa naman sa edisyon ito ng Round by Round ay marami na namang mga boxing fans, no, na ngumangaw-ngaw at naghahanap ng ikatlong laban between Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin. At para udyukin si Golovkin, na huling lumaban noong December 2020 ay sinabi ni Canelo Alvarez that he is ready for anything. Malaman na statement po yan, mga kaibigan. At sa dakong ito, ay ito ba ay isang pag-uudyot lamang or ito ba talaga ay kailangan mangyari, Dennis Principe?
Talking about itong si Canelo Alvarez, alam mo, while he is mandated, or actually to si Canelo is trying to challenge pa rin, while he's not very vocal, but I'm sure yung mga promoters niya, Gennady Golovkin, numinipis na numinipis na yung kanyang future. Same thing for Gennady Golovkin, especially kung tatagal siya dyan sa super middleweight, kung hindi niya kakayanin na gumawa, because as it is right now, sa middleweight division, meron pa rin mga kilalang up and coming. For one, yung Jermal Charlo is slowly making a name. Ryota Murata apparently is bringing yung kanyang Asian roots, into the mix, para maging marketable fighter din siya, or marquee fighter. So it depends on the plano ni Canelo Alvarez, especially yung kanyang weight issues. Not unless yung mga binanggit ko kanina would move up in weight, and di naman malayo yan. Kung nandun yung pera na kay Canelo, pwedeng mangyari yan. But as it is right now, hindi na bumabata si Canelo. Same thing with Gennady Golovkin. So I think the time is right for them, na tama na yung mga tipong Caleb Plant et al. Go for the big name fights, and wala na yung mga tune-up if ever.
Well, nabanggit mo yung Caleb Plant, which is happening very, very soon. But will this do anything for the career of Canelo to fight Plant and raise that bar of interest audience-wise for him, knowing fully well that the audience wants a Canelo and a Golovkin matchup?
Of course, because itong si Caleb Plant is unbeaten in 21 fights, but he needs to look good, explosive. Itong si Caleb Plant, for most of the boxing fans, sa mga purist, kilala yan, or meron time na panoorin, yung kanyang mga past fights, pero yung mga tipo ng mga fans na makikita lang in action yung si Caleb Plant during fight night against Canelo Alvarez, pagka nahirapan dito si Canelo Alvarez, pwedeng maging yun. It may serve, as a drawback for Canelo Alvarez pagdating sa pag-negotiate for marquee fights after Caleb Plant.
You're still watching Round by Round, and let's now turn it over to our colleague, Ryan Songalia.
Ryan Songalia of Round by Round here with Edgar Butch Sanchez. Edgar, Butch, you've been a boxing trainer for a long time. People will probably best know you for your work with your Dennis Ugas. You're coming off of a big upset victory over Manny Pacquiao. First off, talk to me about that. A lot of people, actually, I would say almost no one thought that Ugas would pull it off. Tell me why it was that he beat Manny Pacquiao.
You know what? Ugas is like a son to me. The relationship me and him have was really tight. I thought we had the game plan where Ismael Salas was my boy, and we worked with Ugas together. We had all along we were figuring that, Manny rushes in, even though it's a style that a lot of trainers tell you is wrong, but for Manny it worked for many, many years. And Ryan, I got all the respect for Manny, for Sean Gibbons, and Ryan, Marvin, my boy Marvin, but we thought we had the perfect plan in establishing throwing him off with a good jab. We thought that a good jab would throw him off from running in, and it worked. I think it worked to the T, because even after the fight, the first thing that the senator, Manny Pacquiao, because you got to respect that man. He's a great man, a lot of respect. That's the first thing the senator said was that the jab confused him. The jab threw him off that long reach. And we wanted to use the jab. We wanted to also establish, to push him, try to rough him up a little bit. And I think that all worked in our favor, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. You go way back with Ugas, because you've even said he's a son. Tell me about how your relationship started with Ugas. Because you started working with him when he was,
Ugas was right after Miami. They sent him. What happened was a guy named Eddie Marines was the first guy. He contacted me. He was the Florida promoter / manager. When Ugas lost an upset fight, he had lost a split decision. Eddie Marines called me and told me, Butch, I got a kid that can fight, but I got to get him out of here. He's in nightclubs and blah, 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 blah. So I said, look, he's an Olympian. He beat Terrence Crawford. Blah, blah, blah. I said, yo, I'd love to have him. So they send him down, and I was training in Patterson, of course, with Hammer, and I had Marcelo. I had all the Peruvian guys. I know you remember them.
Yeah, of course.
And when you guys came down here, Ryan, the story with me and him, that's how close me and him got, because when we had the falling out with Caribe Promotions, which was, remember Rigondeaux and them guys with Caribe, they stopped sending him food money and they stopped paying his rent. And I kid you not, Ryan, and you could ask you guys, we could put him on three-way. He didn't have money for food. He didn't have nowhere to stay. And that's where I stepped in. And I told him, I said, you guys, you're never going to starve. And you're always going to have a place to live if you're with me. And I used to always give him, not that much. I used to give him $40, $50 on the weekend so he can go out and buy food and stuff like that. And he never forgot that. And look at how his life turned around. What happened was I told him, I said, guys, this is all true, Ryan. You could verify this with Ugas. I said, Ugas, I'm going to send you back to Miami. We're going to get out of that contract. I'm going to show you how to get out of that contract. And we did a few things, and he got out of it with an attorney. He got out of it, and then he calls me. He goes, Coach, you're right. I got out of the contract through the bankruptcy. I got out of it. I'm a free agent. So I said, okay, hold on one second. I called Louis de Cuba Jr. I said, now we're going to sign with Louis, and we're going to go with Al Heyman. And then Louis called me and said, Butch, I'm going to send this kid for now. I'm going to send him to Vegas, where I got Lara. He had a bunch of guys over there with Ismael Salas. And I said, Louis, I love that kid like a son. I want the best for him. Even if he's not here with me, I don't care. I'm always going to be in his corner anyway. And that's how it happened, Ryan. Louis signed him. We signed him with Al Heyman because Louis don't sign fighters no more. Al Heyman does. That's an advisor, as you know. And then the rest is history, man. He started beating fighters last minute. He beat Jamal James. He beat a bunch of guys last minute, and he started climbing up the ladder. And he would always call me to work his corner, like I always still work his corner, because he feels comfortable. I'm like a father figure to him. So I would always, be in his corner, like I always am. Whenever. Now, what I try to do now, Ryan, is I try to go now and spend 2 or 3 weeks in camp with him in Vegas, because he's out there with Salas, and they got great sparring, and Salas got a gym full of world champions over there. So the rest is history. Look how his life turned around, Ryan, this kid, listen to me. This kid didn't have a bottle of water to buy. And if not, like I told you, I could do a 3-way with him, because he calls me all the time. I talked to him yesterday. And he would explain to you the story. Our story was we cried. That's why even when we beat, I thought we beat Porter, but after we beat Manny Pacquiao, me and him started crying like little kids, because it was the way his life turned around. And even Manny Pacquiao, that guy's a great guy, bro.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Lastly, just want to ask you before I let you go. Ugas, he's got a huge opportunity right now to do something special. Errol Spence is talking about coming back after his injury is healed. He says he wants to go straight into a championship fight. He doesn't need a tune-up or nothing. And then you have the Crawford versus Porter fight that's going to be taking place next month. Do you want the winner of that fight? Go to Errol Spence. What do you think is the best one? The best
You know what, Ryan? Between us, I think PVC wants to do Spence Ugas.
Yeah.
And that's the fight we want, because he wanted the unification. We wanted to unify if we beat Manny. That was on the table. As you know, Tom Brown proposed it to the WBA, and they saying they proposed it a week too late. I don't know if you read that.
Mm-hmm.
But we were supposedly for the end of February to go in with Spence. And now they're saying they're done. They have us in a box off. So I don't know, but we want Spence. I think that's the legitimate fight.
Yeah.
That's the fight to make, Ryan. So, we'll keep you posted. And if you want to do an interview in the future, I could have you guys accessible to you also, and we could do something nice with you.
That'd be great, man. Awesome. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Butch, once again, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's now go to our Fearless Forecast brought to you by Eastern Communications at aming napili ay nalalapit na laban ni Charlie Suarez, who will next face Dermar Pelio, that is tentatively scheduled for December of this year at the Elorde Sports Complex in Parañaque City. Kasama Dennis, ano ang mangyayari dito? Yamat din lang si Charlie Suarez ay hindi natin masyado narinig na may mga balita tungkol sa kanya. At ito si Delmar Pelio ay mukhang hindi pa lumalaban ng medyo matagal-tagal na.
First big test for Charlie Suarez as a professional. He'll be facing someone who's unbeaten, 9-0 with 4 KOs. Delmar Pelio. Ang problema lang, matagal lang hindi lumalaban ito. Since the pandemic, hindi pa ito lumalaban. Alam mo, we've heard about boxers struggling, after not having any fight in almost a year. Meron pa nga iba na disgrasya. Remember si Moises Fuentes, na disgrasya because he's coming off he was coming off a long layoff, nung napalaban siya. So ang problema rito is that he's not known as a veteran din. This will be only his 10th fight at Delmar Pelio. So medyo may malaking question mark pagdating sa kanyang activity. But in looking at his record, medyo matitindi rin yung mga nakakalaban niya. Although a good number of them had losing records, pero mga veteran journeymen din naman yung mga tinalo niya. So it's a step-up fight for Charlie Suarez and I'm happy for him. And for sure, dito makikita natin kung gaano nakalayo yung skill ni Charlie Suarez na right now, masasabi natin na wala na siguro siya ron sa may part wherein he's still trying to adjust sa professional level. So probably this will be the kind of test na kailangan ng kunin ni Charlie Suarez from now on.
So mga kaibigan, ang sinasabi po sa madalit salita na ating kasamang expert na si Dennis Principe, the smart money is with Charlie Suarez. And that's our Fearless Forecast brought to you by Eastern Communications. And that's the final bell for today's episode of Round by Round presented by Eastern Communications. Ako po, si Boyet Season.
At ako naman si Dennis Principe. We are on Facebook Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. Siyempre, nandyan din po tayo sa YouTube. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for you to get the latest happenings sa larangan po ng professional boxing.
On the next edition of our program, it'll be Nisi Icasiano and Bill Velasco who will be answering the bell. This has been Round by Round, all boxing, all Filipino, all the time. Ingat po kayo.